Call Halayim La, Alahayan Awa Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, Wamalaki Yabahashim, Howard Wat, Wakako Rash, Barakathum, the water Baba Ball, Wakwam Yasharala. Double honor to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who teach us daily. To the men out there teaching the lightwise doctrine, I say Shalom. Today we're gonna get into a video whereas I came across something very peculiar last night that really had me disturbed. But this story happened 2 years ago, but I found it so odd and so weird and so wicked that I had to do this video right now. The video you're about to watch is about an Edomite who was a home inspector. He went into somebody's home. He went into, I think, the nursery, I think, and he basically sexually assaulted an Elmo doll. It was caught on camera. He knew the camera was there because he looked right into the camera before he did it. So yeah, Esau is weird, man. I mean, I see why the scriptures say what they say about him being viler than the earth. But this is a whole new look. I mean, I see why Job said what he said about Esau in chapter 30. But we're going to get into all that. But first, let's get his copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Let's go ahead and get the video. I found this video on the A&E. As you can see, it was 2 years ago. And look at this. A man accused of indecency with a child's dog faces his accuser in court. In this scene from season 6, episode 7. So let's go ahead and get it.
Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes. That would be our son's Tickle Me Elmo doll.
Next, we head to Oakland County, Michigan for a preliminary hearing for 59-year-old Kevin Wayne Van Leuven.
This is the Edomite.
Van Leuven's been charged with aggravated indecent exposure and malicious destruction of property. A year and a half earlier, Van Leuven was hired as a home inspector by a young couple selling their home. The couple left Van Leuven alone in the house with their real estate agent. And when he got to the nursery, the inspection took a disturbing turn. It was all recorded by a nanny cam, which alerted the homeowners, who quickly called police. Van Leuven was soon arrested and charged. Van Leuven appeared at his preliminary hearing virtually, where a judge would determine if the case would go to trial. Also at the hearing was one of the two homeowners.
One of the inspectors had walked into our son's bedroom and he began touching his genital area when he walked into the bedroom.
Check out Van Leuven's reaction as she describes the video.
He began touching his genital area when he walked into the bedroom, and I thought that was kind of odd. And as I was watching, he had gone over to our son's little teepee tent that he had all the stuffed animals in, and he grabbed our son's Tickle Me Elmo doll and then proceeded to take it to our son's closet. And then what it looked like on the video was he unzipped his pants and began masturbating in our son's closet with his Tickle Me Elmo.
While the video appears to speak for itself, Van Leuven's attorney, Jeff Quaz, argued that because his client's genitals could not be seen, it's not indecent exposure.
See, there you go. See, you see how Esau do? This man will lie about the obvious. Esau will lie for money. That's what lawyers do. They lie for money.
Judge Nancy Karniak disagreed and sent the case to a higher court for trial. The trial lasted just one day before both sides rested and the jury returned with a verdict. Van Leuven was found not guilty of destruction of property, but guilty of the more serious charge, aggravated indecent exposure. His sentence is pending, and he could face up to 2 years in prison and a $2,000 fine.
Thanks for being a fan of Court Cam.
Damn. Even the stuffed animals ain't safe. All right, let's go to the book of Job, man. Let's go ahead and get it. The book of Job, chapter 30. We're gonna start at verse 1. This is how Job sees Esau. And he's gonna explain how he sees the Edomites. Verse 1. It says, and the name of this section is Job's present state is humiliating. Verse 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Now, why would Job say that? Because Job knew that if he left those dogs alone with Esau, Esau would rape the dogs. This is how you get your bestiality. Because right now, 13 states are in the process of legalizing bestiality. Verse 2. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished? For want and famine they are solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolation and waste. Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots by their meat. Listen to this. They were driven forth from among men, and they cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. What does vile mean? Let's get a definition. Vile. Vile is an adjective used to describe something extremely unpleasant, morally despicable, or physically repulsive. It conveys a sense of deep disgust, whether applies to foul odors, wicked behavior, or terrible weather. Synonyms. Wicked. What is the number one term used to describe the Edomites in the Bible? The wicked. Now, you got wicked people, but the Bible refers to them as the wicked. Wicked, depraved, despicable, heinous, disgusting, foul, repulsive, nauseating, noisome, wretched, offensive, atrocious. I think Job hit it right on the head. Now let's keep rolling. Let's get this one. I think it's in Habakkuk chapter 2. Let's see, verse 12. No, that ain't it. Verse 4, there it is. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. His soul ain't right, because the Lord created them to be the wicked. Now you can't have a positive spirit and be the wicked at the same time. And another thing you people overlook, I know this might be a bit off the subject, but it's still relevant. You people have to realize to not worship celebrities. And that's what y'all do. Y'all worship celebrities because this is the gist of the matter. The richer a person is in the wicked kingdom, the more morally, spiritually bankrupt they are. Because you got to give that up. You have to give up, you have to sell your morality. You have to sell your spirituality. You have to sell your worth in Babylon to get rich. Remember what we said? Some people are so poor that all they have is money because they lack morals, they lack spirituality, they lack decency. So the richer you are, the more morally and spiritually bankrupt you are. Look at these celebrities. And you don't even have to be a celebrity. You can just be rich. You are still morally and spiritually bankrupt. But see, these people are willing to sell their actual humanity and decency for a whole bunch of little pieces of paper that's worthless right now. So I just wanted to tell y'all that the richer they are, the more spiritually bankrupt they are. Because you can't get rich in a wicked kingdom and be a decent, righteous person. That don't happen in Esau's kingdom. Now let's go to, I think, Hebrews 12, verse 16. Yep. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Let's get some definitions. Fornicator and profane. Now, despite what you have been taught, the term fornicator does not mean what society thinks it means, which is this. A fornicator is a term someone who engages in sexual intercourse outside of marriage. That's not fornication. It's not. Because let me see, I'm gonna read the rest. Primarily a formal and old-fashioned word, it is rooted in religious and moral contexts that deem premarital or extramarital sex to be a sin. Now, there's no such thing as premarital sex because sex is marriage. How can you have sex before you get married? Because when you have sex, you are getting married. Esau just he just commercialized the whole process by charging you to have a big ass ceremony, rent out a church, buy a $5,000 cake, $100,000 ring, all this money you spending just to be divorced in less than 6 months in this society. But see, Esau gets rich off you getting married, and he gets rich off you getting a divorce. That's why they commercialize the whole sacred institution of marriage. Remember, Esau gets paid off filthiness here. So yeah, this definition is wrong. See, fornicator typically refers to an unmarried person who has sex. That's not possible. Or a married person who has sex with an unmarried individual. Adulterer, which is that definition is wrong too, but we're gonna clear it up after I get this one. Adulterer specifically refers to a married person who has sex with someone other than their spouse. That's not correct. That's not an adulterer. An adulterer is a woman who has sex with a man when she has a husband. If a man has sex with a single woman and has a wife, that's not adultery because she's single. And all this is biblical. Despite what you have been taught in Esau's kingdom, he turns everything upside down. Let's get it right here, 1 Corinthians. Chapter 3, verse 19. For the wisdom, and let's start at 18. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seem to be wise in this world, let him become a fool that he may be wise. What does that mean? That means you got to let go all of the bullshit you've been taught in Babylon and really see things with your spiritual eyes and ears. You have to empty your cup of the wine of Babylon and refill it with the living waters from the Bible. That will give you true understanding of all things. Verse 19, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yahweh. For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. See, they trying to reword shit to make it not seem devastating. They want to make all their lewd acts acceptable by society. That's why you got the alphabet community, Sodom and Gomorrah back in the reincarnation as people. So you have to empty your cup of all this bullshit you learn here in order to really see. Now let's get this one. This is the perfect example. When you let go all the bullshit you learned in Babylon and you adhere to these scriptures and you really understand them and the breakdowns as well, you got this right here, the book of John, chapter 7, verse 38. He that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Rivers of living water is wisdom. But see, you got to ass backwards ass society who worships AI, artificial intelligence. Now you got to remind yourself artificial means fake. So why would you want to cling on to artificial intelligence when you have wisdom? The two doesn't compare because all this bullshit that you learned in Babylon, AI is repeating it. AI just like Esau, they give you one truth and two lies to protect Esau. Just like the military. The military is true purpose of the military, especially in America, the American military, their true purpose is to protect assets that were stolen by the rich. That's their true purpose. Now let's go to Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise. What is the counsel? The scriptures. So this man think he wasn't doing nothing wrong because he's Esau. And that goes back to Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. Woe to those that call evil good and good evil. He didn't see nothing wrong with it, probably because he's so used to doing it. Verse 21. There shall no evil happen to the just, but the wicked shall be filled with mischief. You know what puts a spark in Esau's eyes? You know what makes him happy? Wicked secrets. He loves the feeling of getting away with something. That's what he did in that house. They love the feeling of getting away with some shit. That's why they can't stop doing wicked shit. They have to feed that appetite of getting away with wicked shit. Look at your government. Look at your president. Let's go to the book of Nahum. Book of Nahum, chapter 3. Verse 5, behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness and the kingdoms thy shame. That is very shameful. To go to court, to go to jail for some shit like that, that's very shameful. Verse 6, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock. Yeah, when you go to jail for some shit like that, you will be a gazing stock. And guess what? You might have some convicts in there who loves Elmo. So I can just imagine them dressing him up like Elmo and doing to him what he did to Elmo in that video. I don't put it past him. I mean, that is just disgusting. Let's keep going. Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? That's why all this shit is allowed in a wicked kingdom. That's how you know you in a wicked kingdom, when wickedness is not being punished. Let's get this one. Book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried. Listen to this. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. The wicked does not understand because this is like breathing to them. This is normal. This is Edomite culture. They rape everything that grape, Salakia, everything that ain't nailed down to the ground. Children, animals, goats, sheep. They had a saying in Greece, welcome to Greece, where the men are men and the sheep are nervous. And they laugh at this, suggesting bestiality, obviously. That's how common it is. Matter of fact, when I was in the Navy, when I went to so-called Europe, where the Edomites dwell, they had animal brothels, animal hoe houses, and they still got them over there. So you mean tell me Esau ain't vile as hell, viler than the earth? Yeah. Animal hoe houses. Who does that? But they say we 3/5 of a human. No, bro. Y'all got it hands down. Because who's acting like 3/5 of a human? You have sex with animals. You have sex with dogs. You have sex with trees. And they have a term for this. It's called an ecosexual. Nothing is safe around this man. Ecosexuals. They just make up shit because they're feeding their flesh. They're not spiritual. They're carnal. Whatever pleases them, they're very, what's the word? Um, it'll come to me. They're people of instant gratification. That's what it is. And they give in to their flesh. That's why they're so emotional. Emotions rule Esau. I bet when that thought entered his mind to do that, he didn't even think twice about it. It's so natural to him. Let's get another one. This is Psalms chapter 55, verse 19. Yahweh shall hear and afflict them, even he that abideth of old, Salah, because they have no changes, therefore they fear not Yahweh. See, these the same Edomites from back in the day, because they doing the same shit. They had the same mind state. They had the same spirit. because they are spirits reincarnated over and over. You come back every third or fourth generation. A generation is anywhere from 20 to 25 years after your death. You come back in the reincarnation. These are the same people doing the same bullshit back then they doing now. That's why children don't stand a chance. Children get it the worst. Let's get it. 10. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 106. And we'll scroll down a little bit. Now, this is described, this is talking about how the wicked two-third Israelites learned all this bullshit, all this wickedness against children from Esau. And we can start at verse 32. They angered him also at the waters of strife, so that it went ill with Moses for their sakes, because they provoked his spirit, so that he spake unadvisedly with his lips. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them. Yeah, the Lord gave them a command, but the wicked two-third Jakes decided to join them instead of beating them. And the name of this section is Israel's rebelliousness and the Lord's deliverances. Now let's go back down. Yeah. Verse 35. Listen to this. This is talking about the wicked two-third Israelites learning their ways. But it said, they did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Yeah, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan, and the land was polluted with blood. Thus they were defiled with their own works, and went a whoring with their own inventions. Everything wicked Esau brought into this world. Let's go to Jeremiah. We'll get a couple more and close. Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 23. Can the Ethiopian change his skin or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil. That's not possible. So Esau cannot do good. Think about it. If all the other nations hate this country, if most of the inhabitants in this country hate this country, what's good about it? What makes America great when it is hated? Okay, let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 15. Because you have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Now, what are the lies that they they use for their refuge, and under what falsehood have they hid themselves? These are the following. Some of the lies they use as a refuge, they claim they're us. They claim they're decent, wholesome, God-fearing, pure, innocent, loving, when they're the complete opposite of all those things plus some. Those are the lies they told themselves. Some more lies they told themselves. Everything evil is good and everything good is evil. They live by this. You can see it through their actions. You can see it through their attitudes, their opinions, their beliefs, and their unjust court systems. It's no coincidence that all of these Edomite murderers are not judged or punished. That's not a coincidence. Esau is not a judge of the earth. Esau, when you go to court, you don't see judges. You see Edomites in white robes pretending to be righteous. You got judges getting caught in shit left and right these days, and lawyers. That's why my man Carmelo Anthony, I think he's due for a retrial with a new judge. Because these are not judges, these are Edomites in robes pretending to be righteous and taking all kind of payoffs under the table. How can you be righteous? Isaiah chapter 29, verse 15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us? That man thought he was going to get away with it until he didn't get away with it because they so used to doing it and getting away with it. But the Lord is turning the tables. Now the curses are falling on Esau. The shit he used to get away with, he ain't getting away with it no more. And for that reason, Esau is even more angry at Israelites for staying out of his reckless, wicked way and exposing every wicked act he commits. All right. Well, that's it, y'all. I think that's all I got. So I get one more. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 3. We'll close on this one. There can no good come to him that is always occupied in evil, nor to him that giveth no alms. Always occupied in evil, always trying to think about some shit to get away with so he can chuckle to himself at night. Esau, you a sad example for life. You are the sad example of life. The Lord wasted spirits on you, but you were created to serve his will, to bring forth wickedness in the earth, to punish us, to destroy your own kingdom, and to rebuild ours for free. You're an example to the Israelites as of how not to rule. And once again, power demonstrates who it's not for. Look at all the wickedness Esau has done since he's been in power. Power was not created for Esau. That's why he's not so good at it. He's not good at leadership at all. He paints himself to be all knowing, all righteous. He's the exact opposite. This man is a dingleberry with legs. And I see why the Lord is going to destroy them. So, listen to the Israelites. Do not let Edomites into your house. Do not let Edomites around your animals, around your children. Because if not, if you do, you're going to end up just like this woman in this video, talking to a judge about how this man raped her son's dog. Call halayim la hay now Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai Hamashiach wa Malaki by Hashem Hara Wat Wakakurash Barakathum the water by Baba Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.